Good morning, everybody. This is Marilyn. Do we have audio? Yes, we do, I think. Okay, great. Thank you. Welcome to my world. This is the morning edition. It's about 8:30 on the 16th of November, which is a Monday. And we're going to have we're going to have I think some volatility in the markets. uh, the over the weekend news, this is why I say that if you're going to be a trader, you better pay attention to what's happening. If you're not a news junkie, now would be a good time to start, because what happens overseas is is going to more and more. These markets are all interconnected. Overnight, what has surprised me with the biggest move is the Japanese yen. News just came out in the US and Canada. These are very bad numbers. The Empire State Manufacturing Index is down double what the expectation was. Um, the numbers are not good coming out of Canada, and the Canadian dollar is it's showing its displeasure, shall we say. So the markets, the indices all drifted up overnight. They sold off Friday afternoon, drifted up overnight, and it looks like they're poised to perhaps start a little run to the downside. Don't get caught up in the talking heads, because we've talked about this before. They get paid to talk. They do not get paid to be right. So trade what you see and keep your brain in a neutral position. It's all about what the charts are telling you, and nothing more nor less. But you do need to be aware of what's going on in the background. For crude oil, I have rolled this to the January contract, which I do not ordinarily do. The Nadex rolls a day or two ahead of what we roll the futures, but right now the volume on both December and January contracts is coming up to about even. By this afternoon, this will be the predominant contract, and what we go by on that is based strictly on volume. Follow the money. Where is the money moving? So, having said that, this morning our apex indicators are still painting red, and this is headed down here. We'll see what happens when it gets to settlement. I would suggest that if you're watching this sharpshooter, this has really given you a nice trend. Some people may have noticed that my blue ice line is above the green. I'm on a different toolkit than you are, but the programmers tell me that this occasionally happens, and today is just one of those days, because this is where the highest volume was. So the green is telling us, between the green and the red is 70% of the volume. Anyway, we are aware of it, and this is just one of those days where that's the normal for me, because I am on a different toolkit. For those of you trying to learn what I'm talking about when I talk about these deviation mountains, this is a classic example. I mean, it started about 3:30 or 4 o'clock in the morning, which I'm assuming we don't have too many traders that caught this up run here. But these long bars right here are difficult, I know, to sit through. If you have red and green candles or bars on your chart, then you don't need these down here, because you already know this. But I prefer to use neutral. I want my mind in neutral. I don't want the least amount of emotion that you bring into your trading in my view, the better off. So, since mine are black, I put this down here because when you get these long bars and you're sitting there wondering, gee, I don't know if I should get out. I mean, it's right here at this magnet, and oh my goodness. And if you look down here and you see these tall green bars, it's telling you it's going to go on up. But watch this mountain build right here. As long as this thing builds, it will keep going. And now it's gone down, across the open, and it's building. I don't. This is some kind of a programming thing about the colors change, but I have my thing is when these mountains peak, there is going to be a change of direction, and sometimes that's just easier, I think, for especially new people to follow on this sharpshooter chart because boy, this is really giving you no indication that it's going to change its mind out here in no man land. But look what happens when it gets right down here to this buy zone. And there's been a tremendous amount of volume in here. And we are exceeding volume here. So once you get the hang of looking at the different perspectives on these, it becomes a whole lot easier if you're trading this particular strategy. If you're trading a different strategy, then you need to use the charts and the rules that go with that, whatever it is. And this is just the easiest way that I found for trading crude oil, so that's the way I do it. Anyway, I would expect that if and when it gets here to the settlement, the low of the day is right at settlement also. If it does not turn around here, it will chop around. These are major, major streets right here. The other thing that I notice is looking at this chart, look at how far, if you've watched the videos on these range channels, Daryl talks about how when the market breaches the bottom of a range channel and it keeps on going, this is a significant fall here. It takes a lot of volume to make that happen. The other thing I wanted to point out to you, I noticed first thing on this big chart are these range channels. Look at how skinny these little boxes are. They're all real tight. It took a whole hour for that box to complete, and there's one or two bars per box. That's an extremely slow market. So you will find the 210 chart much, much easier to trade with, simply because the volume is down and it causes the market to move slower, if you will. So we have the VIX, and we had a question on Friday about what is the VIX. I'm always mentioning, and that's the VIX. It's the volatility index. You can make a little chart of that if you'd like on your own, or virtually any platform will have that. But I like to monitor that as an overall view of where the indices are. So having said all that, there is I think somebody put the reference in the forum of how you roll your crude oil. If this is new to you, crude oil rolls every single month. So it's going to be well worth your time to figure out exactly how to roll that thing early, because we're going to do it every single month. It may or may not be on depending on if there's weekends or holidays in there, depending on what day we do it. But what I use to judge that for the futures is where the money is. Where is the volume? And right now they are selling out of December and buying into the January. So that's about, and Brent, the last hour Brent has taken a significant fall also. It's fallen about almost $3. not quite $3, about $2.50, which is huge. So this has been my view from my world in Apex land, brought to you by Apex Investing. I'll come back on about noon and we'll see where we are with trades. See you then. Thanks.